So I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I absolutely loved your performance. I'm super excited to get to chat a little bit more about your career as a performer. And
Thanks.
so jumping right into it, was there a specific moment when you were younger that made you realize you wanted to pursue theater?
Um, it's just what I've always wanted to do. As far as back as I can remember, I wanted to be a performer. So yeah, I mean, there were lots of like little touchstones. I remember um, I was named after an actress, and my aunt went to visit her in a show, and she said that if I wanted to be an actress, she said, "Oh yeah, have her come and meet with me." And I was too shy, but still, it was like something that's always been my life. So
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. And so you studied at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco and also the University of California. And so how did these experiences at the two schools help improve the artist you are today?
Um, they were everything. I mean, I started at UC Irvine, which, if you read, like I read an article, like, I don't know, 10 years ago that said the top 10 schools for drama in the States, and both of them were on that list of the top 10. They were both so good. The things that they taught me at UC Irvine, Dr. Robert Cohen, who's written a lot of books on acting, just very specific how you break down textual analysis and all the rest of that. And I still use that today. And then ACT was fascinating. I got my master's there. It was a 3-year program. And the way they worked is we had tutors that, were head of departments, but all the tutors and our guest instructors were all company members in this acting company. So they came in and they said, this is what works for me. Let me teach you these tools. And so ACT was very specifically about gathering all these tools, method acting and Stanislavski and Strasberg, and just all these different things that work for all these different professional working actors. And they say, use what works for you. And then another great thing about that program is it, it took us on a showcase. It took us to LA and it took us to New York. And I had interest from both coasts, and I chose New York because I felt that was more aligned with what I wanted my career to do at that point. And so it jump started my career, and everything that I do is kind of based on those first steps that I had with ACT. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, that's incredible. And so, not only have you been on stage for a while, but you've also done screen walk. And so, for you personally, do you prefer being on screen or on stage? Because those are two completely different things, and you perform those two completely different ways as well.
Yeah, they are different, but the essence is the same. It's all pretend, and it's all finding, those emotional journeys in yourself to tell a story. The difference is the venue, basically. If you're on screen, you can just think a thought and it comes across. Whereas on stage, you have to think it a little bigger. um, and I love both. I love being on stage, especially with a show like Paranormal Activity, because if it's working, you can hear the audience
Yeah.
and they respond in a way, a lot like comedy. You're reaching them because they're giving back. Um, but I love screen because it's just I like being able to just think a thought and have it show up.
Yeah.
I find it very relaxing, and yeah, I really enjoy screen too. But I've done comic pieces on screen, and those are really tricky because you don't know if it's hitting or not.
Yeah.
And I did this one really crazy character for it's actually a pitch project. And after it's like I was doing these crazy physical things, I thought, well, I guess that's okay. And afterwards, the cameraman was crying. He was like, I was trying so hard not to laugh because it was so hilarious, but they can't laugh. They're
Yeah.
on set. They can't do anything. So yeah. Yeah, they both have great things that I love about them. So,
Yeah, for sure. And like speaking of like hearing the audience, like when I was there in the evening show, with it being such a full house, the audience is just like so lively, and like
Yeah,
all the reactions at the same time really just like bring energy to the stage, for sure.
absolutely. And sometimes something that somebody else reacts to, supplies you information. It's like, oh, that, so
Yeah.
you're reacting to what other people are reacting to. So yeah, it's really exciting. It's a big group experience, which is what live theater is all about. You're experiencing something with a bunch of strangers, which is very exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And like the thing with this show, everyone's so tense in the audience. Like the
Hmm.
night I was there, someone coughed and then someone else next to them jumped. Like it was so funny. Like they were like so
Right.
like into it that like
One
anything was making them.
one night as you know, there is a lot of complete blackouts.
Yeah.
And in between the first and the second scene, there's a complete blackout. But that's the only time they let people that are late for the theater come in and
Yeah.
take their seats. So these two people came in the dark and tapped somebody on the shoulder to say, we need to get into our seat. So that person screamed, which of course the next person, nobody can see what's going on. And so everyone started screaming. We're backstage. We think there's a riot. We think they're going to have to stop the show because there was so much screaming going on. And
Was
then
that in
finally,
Toronto?
that was in London.
London.
Yeah, yeah, and which is a much smaller, more
Yeah.
intimate space, and so I think there's even more tension with that. So that, of course, made all of us backstage laugh.
Yeah.
But I think it was a terrifying, traumatic experience for the people in the audience.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing. I thought it was
And so you've been in a numerous amount of shows, all the way dating back to like Phantom of the Opera in 1997 and Sound of Music in 2018. And so is there a specific role that really sticks out to you that you really enjoyed playing and why?
one of my very favorite roles is Desiree in A Little Night Music. Um, I
It's a
love
classic show.
classic. I love Sondheim. I've gotten to do the show three times. Twice I've been able to play Desiree. Um, it is such a gorgeous show, and Sondheim is so clever. And that particular role, the last time I played it was more than 10 years ago. But even then, obviously, I was already an older actress. But it's an opportunity for an older actress to have a love story, which
Yeah.
you don't get those opportunities once you get to a certain age. Um, but yeah, I loved everything about that show. So that's my favorite, but I have a lot that I love about a lot of shows. I don't want to, diss any of my babies. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so you're currently starring in Paranormal Activity as Carolanne,
Hmm.
which you've been with the show for quite some time now. You started back in Leeds a couple years ago. And
Yeah.
so what was the audition process like when you first started with the show?
Um, it, yeah, we first auditioned for this in 2023, perhaps. So it was a long time ago. We were still kind of post-COVID, where everything was self-tape for the first round, even theater jobs. But for this one, the first round even was in the room, and I was so grateful for that. Um, the They had me read from both of my scenes that I have, and I just from the very beginning, I knew who Carolanne was, and I was able to draw on my own experience as a mother. Obviously, Carolanne has a more heightened experience of motherhood than my real life, but yeah, so that was really great, and getting to meet Felix Barrett, the director, it was. I mean, he is such a lovely, lovely man, and has done such great creative theatrical work. So that was very, very exciting. And then on my recall, Levi Holloway, the author, was there, as well as Simon Friend, he's our producer, our lead producer. We have also another producer, but they were all lovely. But to listen to Levi's suggestions for Carolanne were, he was so specific, and he understood who she was so well, and he was able to lead me kind of in a different direction, which was really exciting. I mean, that's, even if you don't get the job, when you get to go into an audition and feel like you're doing something creatively with the director and the author, that's what it's all about. I mean, yeah, it was a great, great process. Yeah.
So were you like did you know about the franchise of Paranormal Activity before, or when you went into this, did you go in completely blind?
Yeah, no, well, I knew, I mean, I've known of it, obviously. It's, yeah, an amazingly famous franchise. But I um I'm afraid of horror things. Actually, that's kind of gone away.
Yeah,
I've been more brave, but when I was cast in this, that was the first time I watched the film Paranormal Activity. And
that's
I
crazy.
screamed and it was
Yeah.
great.
And it's
Um,
so well made too for the time they came out,
oh,
and like especially
it's
like early
so clever.
2000s, like
Yeah, it's so clever. It's just the found footage idea, and yeah, it's so well done. And yeah, they're right now they're making another one,
yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
and they're going back to that
Found footage.
initial kind of thought about,
Yeah.
yeah. So it sounds like it's going to be amazing, and it's being directed by brilliant young director named Ian Dwasson, who recently came out with Undertone. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've
Yeah, I
seen
saw the
that with
the A24 film. That was
A24.
terrifying.
It is so clever, and it's
Yeah.
I have high hopes for this next Paranormal
Yeah.
Activity film. So yeah, I
And
can't wait to see it.
and like they're bringing back a bunch of like older like horror films nowadays. They just announced that they're bringing back Blair Witch Project as well.
Oh, how exciting! Oh
Yeah.
wow.
I think they announced that it's coming out next year.
Well, I mean,
Like end of
it just
next year.
makes sense after the popularity and the success of Obsessions and Back Rooms.
Oh yeah.
Those are proper. This is what scares people. We don't need a lot of special effects. We
Yeah.
just need to tell an exciting story and and excite people's imagination. Because it's what's going on in people's imagination more than anything that scares you.
Yeah, I think
But you're not.
especially with like movies like Paranormal Activity and like Blair Witch, it's like things that like people think that would actually happen to them, and that's what really like
Yeah,
shows them when they're watching it. Because when I first watched Blair Witch, I was like, okay, this is like a little
yeah,
a little much.
yeah. It's great. Yeah. So they're going back to that, and audiences love it. You
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
uh,
So why not? You're gonna make money. Make the
yeah.
film.
And so jumping into the next question, if you could go
Yeah.
back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Uh, to trust myself 100%. The older I get, the more I trust myself, and the more that's right. It's when I was younger, I was like, oh, I can't do this part of acting because I'm not pretty enough, and I'm not tall enough, I'm not short enough, I'm not thin enough, and it's like that doesn't make any difference. I am perfect for Carolanne just as I am, and there are going to be other parts that I am perfect for just because of who I am. So trust myself. That would have been the key. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so this next question kind of ties into the last one. But what advice do you give to younger performers who want to pursue acting as a career?
Yeah. Believe in yourself and don't try to be anybody but yourself. Casting directors, they always say, what can I do to make you like me? And just be authentic. And also trust that when you didn't get the job, it's just because they're looking for something totally different. And I do see that more now. I'll audition for something, I get really excited about it, and then I go to IMDb and I find out who actually got cast. And it's generally somebody so different from me. It's like, oh, yeah, no, they definitely went in a different direction on that. And that's totally cool. So all I can do is bring all of me to an audition. And I would tell that to any young actor, just be yourself, 100% yourself. That's what they want to see.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
don't take it personally.
Yeah, for sure. And that's actually that wraps up the interview today. I'd like to thank you for joining me.
Oh, thanks so much.
Of course.
Great to chat with you.